And Scott Morrison and Bill Shorten have both been campaigning in that marginal seat of Boothby today. It is the only real battleground seat in South Australia this election. Joining us live from the Labor campaign bus is Sky News political reporter Annalise Nielsen. Annalise, Boothby, it's certainly proving to be hotly contested.
It is indeed. We've seen both leaders spend so much time on the ground here in Boothby, showing just how much of a prize it would be to win it. And we did see a rally here today with Bill Shorten where he was talking to the volunteers. He's got out in the ground, handing out those flyers, manning the pre-polling booths and spreading the word. But there was someone spreading the word that he wasn't too happy about. One very courageous punter went into the crowd of over 100 volunteers to say that he didn't like Bill Shorten's policies and he preferred John Howard.
But they haven't been in power.
Every time they went in, we get broke. If John Howard didn't come in the power and Costello to die, we'd be really suffering. We'd be nowhere. Every time they pull us out of trouble. When they lost the election, John Howard, he left 15 billion on the bank to the Labor.
I tell you what, he wasn't very popular in the crowd, but he certainly has quite a bit of gumption. Bill Shorten didn't seem too fazed by the whole thing. He's already left on to the next event, but it was earlier in the day. We were in Tasmania in the northwest seat of Braddon, checking out Burnie's Hospital and what they can offer to patients there for elective surgery waiting lists. But it was there Bill Shorten was being asked about franking credits. Braddon in particular has quite a high percentage of retirees, and that's something that could impact their popularity there, is the changing of franking credit imputations. It's something Bill Shorten said he's aware of, but he's happy to back in his plans for reform.
This is a hard reform. But I tell you what, doesn't it move your hearts when you hear that pensioners in Australia can't afford to go to the dentist? Are you worried about someone who's got their sixth investment property or complains about franking credits sitting on the back deck of their yacht? Or what about the voiceless pensioners of this country?
What's interesting is the impact that the candidate there thinks it could have on her seat, Justine Key. It's been reported and confirmed today that she did speak to senior ALP figures about franking credits and the impact on her popularity in her seat. A survey that was published in The Australian does show that with the impact it would have on retirees there, it could be enough for her to lose the seat if people voted against it. But she said that she was happy with the response she got from ALP leaders.
That's why we have the pensioner guarantee. That's when we, when the policy was first announced, pensioners would come to me with their concerns about that policy, and we have the pensioner guarantee, and that's what I took to my colleagues at that time.
Now, while they were talking about waiting lists this morning, it was also about wages. Bill Shorten pushing the idea that if he were to win government, he says he would be right onto the Fair Work Commission immediately, demanding that they increase wages to a real wage. Now, the question coming from the coalition camp is what that figure would be. But Bill Shorten was saying that he thinks it should be up to the Fair Work Commission to decide.
What number, how much do you want wages to rise by?
Well, I've answered this question many times. That'll be up to the Fair Work Commission to determine. That will be up to the Fair Work Commission to determine. But I want to give John a slightly longer answer than that. But one number I can tell you I don't think's right is I don't think that an adult trying to make ends meet in a full-time job should be working for an hourly wage which doesn't take them out of poverty.
Now, the pace has certainly picked up on Bill Shorten's campaign. You can tell we're going into those last few days where every minute needs to be accounted for. We're on to our second event in Adelaide, which will be at Flinders University before we jet off to Perth.